And so how safe is it being in Iquitos?
Well, you know, being in Iquitos proper is quite safe. When I say proper, I mean, let's talk about Belen. Belen, known as the floating city, are where the poorest people live and the most needs. And so it can be dangerous to go into Belen if you don't have a local with you. But it's well worth going down there with a local. And when you get down into Belen and the water's up, it's under these houses that are on poles, so it appears to be floating. When the water is down, all the trash from the river is left on the ground, and then the vultures are coming in and out. Common sight. When you get into that water there at Belen, you can go out to the Amazon, but that water is commerce. A tiny pecky boat, with or without the motor pecky, is circling around as a restaurant boat, or selling dry goods boat, or even at night harboring the services of a prostitute in a little dugout canoe, floating around Belen, working. But Belen, in one area you can see the Regia, what are they called? Those giant lily pads, Victoria Regia. So they're still preserved and maintained there. You can see flora and fauna in Iquitos. The further you go out, the more there is. And it's well worth going.
Do the people in the Amazon actually build houses on the same balsa logs that you use for the raft race?
Yes, balsa logs are used for building houses in the jungle. Floating houses are also built on these balsa logs. They say that balsa comes up kind of like a weed in a lot of areas, and they're 5, 6, 7 years to grow, and then they start to diminish in value. So balsa trees are plentiful, but there's a lot of floating houses in Belen as well as down the river, mostly in the smaller rivers though. Balsa, but all of these houses are going to have a thatched roof from the palm tree, and they're going to be open, and there are going to be people in there sleeping in hammocks mostly, and enduring the mosquitoes with the mosquito net.
All right. A lot of people are interested in the animal life of the Amazon, and are there any animal threats to the racers that you encounter there?
Well, what animals would a person be wary of in the Amazon? We've heard about the anacondas, the boas. We know about the alligators, the caiman, the crocodiles. We know about piranhas. All of those things are there. They do exist. And they are threatening to you if you don't know what you're doing. Piranhas now, you've got to be careful if you're entering the water with a fresh cut and thrashing about. But mostly they're going to leave you alone. I mean, you see children every day, parents bathing in the river. And they're not bathing just where there are no piranhas. So it's all about knowing what you're doing. In fact, the first thing that a child learns in the jungle is how to swim. And the second thing they learn is how to use a baby machete. So yes, there are things to be worried about. Now for the rafters, we are concerned if the rafters urinate in the water. There's a small fish called the candiru that could follow that stream into the urethra and be a difficult situation removing without an operation, because it has a barbed fin and will not be extracted easily. So we always warn our racers, don't pee in the water.
I'll ask you a question that would be important if I was going to be coming to Peru. For an adventure-minded person like a river rafter, what else is there to do while somebody's staying in Iquitos?
The main thing you need is the time to do it in, because one adventure leads to another. The tourist that comes to Iquitos can choose from a plethora of activities. They can go with an organized group on a tour of the jungle. They can go spend some time at a lodge We have an increasing amount of shaman tourism for people who want to learn about ayahuasca. We have people who do one-day trips out of Iquitos to the butterfly farm, Monkey Island, to the zoo. There are reserves in Iquitos and out of Iquitos to visit. The reserve near Iquitos has demonstrated 500 types of birds in the one small reserve. And when you go get out on the river and go to, let's say, the National Reserve Pacaya Samiria, that's 5.5 million acres of flora and fauna, and pink dolphins, gray dolphins, black dolphins, birds, incredible. So there's plenty to do. It depends on how many days you've got and what you want to do. Do you want to have a soft shoe adventure, or do you want to get down and dirty? Do you want to have a private guide and go to the jungle and camp out overnight? Or do you want to go fishing, peacock bass? Sports fishing is big there. Hunters of various kind come. Primitive hunters, primitive weapon hunters like to try their skill in the jungle. There are people who, well, in the jungle they use the blowguns and the bow and arrows that they make. So yeah, there's so much to do in there, in the jungle. In the city, you can study the architecture, you can go to the museums, and just sit around and observe people. Go to the ports, try the local cuisine, try the suri. Suri are grub worms from a palm tree that are eaten raw to cooked, to grilled on the open fire. Try the local cuisine, try the exotic fruits. Open up to letting some of that wildness become a part of you.